Solving someone's problem is the number one way that you can increase the amount of sales that you get. And I want to take you guys down a path of a problem that I got to solve recently for one of our now clients. So they called us out for some windows, and this is a summer home only. All right, it's this log cabin-ish that is overlooking one of the lakes here in our town. There's heat only. There's barely any heat. There's a little wood stove for one section of the house, and that's it. But off of this house is a really cool, I guess I'd call it like a 3 seasons room, but really the whole house is only a 3-season house. But anyways, it's all glass all the way around. It's old school wood frame, single pane glass windows that don't open anymore because they've been painted shut over the last however many years. And customer called me out and said, hey, we need to do some framing on this. I want to change up the window sizes a little bit. I just want simple white on white sliders in it. I'm not super concerned about the efficiency of it. I don't need really, really high-end windows. I, of course, want Energy Star windows, but that's it, right? Nothing too crazy. Sliders are fine. I know they're the least efficient. So I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, I'll come out there, check it out. I show up there and I got a window on display and all that fun stuff. He's like, oh, like, thanks for bringing a window, but I already sourced them from Home Depot. I can order Anderson 100 series, like, not a big deal. And I was like, oh, like, even if my windows can be better quality for less price? He goes, well, I mean, I guess, yeah, and I want your windows. Like, okay, cool. Let's just figure some stuff out here. And we look at the whole project, and I was like, well, if we got to reframe already, like, why are we gonna just make the windows smaller? We don't know what's here for structure, nor if we can actually replace your double hungs with big sliders. We're gonna have to check the header anyways. And he was like, well, I didn't really think about that. And I was like, I don't have a pry bar on me, but do you got one? He's like, yeah. And I was like, all right, cool. Let's pull off this paneling and see what's up there. He's like, yeah, okay, I gotta do it anyways. Let's do it. And so we pulled off a few pieces, and there's absolutely 0 headers. There's just 2x4s. And there's a double top plate, and that's it. And I was like, yeah, that ain't gonna work to span 5 feet or 6 feet in this area. Like, we gotta come in and reframe this. And he's like, that makes sense. Okay, cool. So we walk down this path of, all right, well, we're changing the opening width. And I go inside and I was like, look, man, I'm 6 foot. I know you're a few inches shorter than me. You can probably see right out these windows fine. But for me, I'm looking at the top of the window. I have to do one of these numbers to look out the lake. And he's like, oh yeah, you're right. And I was like, no, I'm sure it's just gonna be you, your wife, and your daughter up here, but maybe your daughter gets married to a fellow my size. And she's in the other room. She goes, at least that tall. And I was like, all right. So maybe we look at increasing the height of the windows too, since we're already reframing this. And he's like, yeah, you're right. Good point. I guess, how much more is that gonna be? I go, honestly, probably not much more. And you might be $100 more a window. And he's like, okay, yeah, let's do that for sure. So, all right, sweet. So we took the windows. We were gonna do 4 foot wide by 4 foot tall, and then one on each side that was 6 foot by 4 foot tall. And we took those all to 5 foot tall windows. And he's like, man, I'm so glad that you came out here. This is amazing. Show him the difference between our windows and the Anderson 100 series. And he's like, man, this makes a ton of sense. I've solved his framing issue. He's like, I had somebody else out. They didn't even mention any framing. They were just like, yep, okay, cool. Here, and I'll email it over to you. They were just gonna do whatever I said. And I was like, well, that's one thing that we don't do. We're professionals. This guy's actually a home inspector, right? And I was like, you're a home inspector. I'm not gonna have you come inspect my home and tell you how to do your job. And he's like, no. I was like, I'll ask you to check out other things, right? And I'm like, hey, can you, really detail this out for me? I've had some concerns here. Like, I'll show you the concern problems, but at the end of the day, you're gonna do your job, right? He's like, exactly. And that's for me, right? If I sell you sliders on this, the way a slider works is it goes back and forth. If we don't have a proper header, now your window's gonna sag and that slider ain't gonna move anymore and you're gonna be in the same boat. He's like, right, that makes a ton of sense. Long story short, all in, this job was like 12 grand or something like that, 12, 13 grand. He's like, okay, let's do it. Boom, done. I solved his problem when the other guy didn't. And the other guy's quote, of course, was less, right? He was just gonna stack some windows in there. He goes, but yeah, I'm gonna waste all that money if it's not framed properly. Exactly, that's the point. So I showed up, listened to this guy, all right? I let him tell me what he wanted. And then I just simply asked him like, well, can I make some recommendations? He's like, yeah, sure, absolutely. Like, can't say I'll do them, but yeah. And I make some recommendations and he was like, oh my goodness, that makes so much more sense. Yes, let's make them taller. Holy cow. Yeah, I want more glass. Like we actually, the 4-foot wide ones, we ended up making them like 4'8" or 4'10" wide because we had the space. He was just gonna close it in a little bit more. And it's like, no, don't do that. Let's make it the full width. We're running a header across this whole thing anyways. Yeah, good point. Let's do it. So he got more glass to enjoy his lake view, looking out over his deck. Like, you can't ask for much more. This is a new home to him. It's like a pet project. And he's like, dude, you're awesome. This is incredible. Like, thank you so much. I'm so excited to do this. I told them windows would be out like 6-7 weeks. Put the order in and they're like, all right, they'll be there in 2.5 weeks. And I was like, holy cow, I get to over deliver again for this guy. So I kind of let him know like, hey, they're telling me I'm gonna have these windows in about 2.5 weeks. So he's like, you can get to it as soon as you can, man. Like, if I could enjoy these windows this summer, like, let's go. So, all right, cool. So that's kind of the game plan here is I show up, I listen to the customer's problems. They will tell you everything. They'll tell you exactly how to sell them if you ask the right questions, listen, and let them talk. And then you solve that problem. All right? It's a literal math problem. It's an algebra equation. All right? They're giving you X. You just have to figure it out. Like, show your work. Like, holy cow, I'm literally building this out in my head right now, so you guys get like forefront of my analogies, all right? You know how we hated in high school, how our teachers made us show our work even though we knew the answer like that? Well, here's an example. I have to show my work to this guy. I can't just tell him the answer because he ain't gonna buy. But if I show him my work and why I would do it this way and why this is the better way, holy cow. Then he's like, oh, I see how you got there. Yes, that's exactly what I want. Okay, that's the right answer. Here's my certificates of good deeds, dollars, all right? Let's get this project done. That's how it works. So there we have it. We might have the title for this video now, Sam. How algebra, or how sales is just an algebra equation or something like that, right? That's it. Show your work and your customers will give you the 100%, the A+, whatever, and you will win more jobs than you lose. So hopefully this story of walking down the path of solving for the problem radically shifts your business. You can start making more money. And if you want to be a part of our community, we do live calls every single day from 10 to 11 Eastern time, where myself and my business partner Daniel are live answering your questions. We call them implements, not masterminds, because we implement as soon as we get off that call. All right, they're implementation masterminds. That's it. So it's called an implement because we implement, we take action. We don't just talk about stuff. All right. So there you have it. Would love to have you guys inside of our community so that you can be winning bigly with us and giving bigly.